And I want to get into our featured story from tonight, the Scottish axe girl. This was a little interesting. Shifting gears, there's a viral video going around in the United Kingdom, in Scotland, where a group of little girls is confronted by what seems to be a foreigner, maybe a gypsy, maybe a Muslim, some sort of migrant. Certainly the guy's not Scottish. Doesn't belong there. He's not Scottish. And these little girls are taking a video of what appears to, or rather the migrant is, this outsider is taking a video confronting a group of what appear to be 12, 13, 14-year-old girls and moving closer to them in a menacing way, in a threatening way, shoving a camera in their face. One of the girls is armed with a battle axe and a kitchen knife, dual wielding. And she's saying, get back, get away from my friends. And the video's insane.
Why are you fucking with us?
Kid bashers!
Show the knife, show the knife, show the
away from us!
show the knife, show the knife.
Don't touch her!
That's it, show the knife. That's it.
Don't touch my little sister! She is 12! She is 12 and you just bastards me!
And it goes viral, and everybody is using this as a rallying cry. People are saying, finally. And it's sort of tragic that it is this way. But as I said at the top of the show, all too often the situation is that these adult fighting age men are in a place where they don't belong. They're from the Middle East, they're from Africa, they're all over Europe, and they prey upon the population. They're stealing, mugging, harassing, raping, attacking, and the native population just takes it. It's young European boys that are being stabbed to death, young European girls being raped, being groomed, abused. It's the taxpayer that's getting abused when they're abusing these public services, getting put up in hotels, and they get arrested for crimes. They get released because they have no papers. And so it was refreshing to see a young girl stand up for herself when her country's failed her. The government failed her. The police failed her. The men failed her. A little girl, 14-year-old girl, has to be out there armed with a battle axe defending herself from strange men that shouldn't be here. We're allowing this because of ideology. Immediately became a rallying cry. Today, it was revealed that that girl was arrested. 14-year-old girl was charged for brandishing weapons. This is a story. It's from a Scottish source, so it doesn't sound American. It says a teenage girl has been charged by police after being caught brandishing a bladed weapon in the middle of the street. The police in Scotland said the youngster was dealt with in Dundee at the weekend. Reports had been made that there was a girl in possession of a weapon. The force said the youngster involved was charged over the incident. A Scottish policeman confirmed the circumstances. They said around 7:40 p.m. on Saturday, we received a report of a female youth with a bladed weapon in St. Anne Lane, Dundee. Officers attended and a 14-year-old girl was charged in connection. So the little girl got charged? Why? You have an adult foreigner approaching a group. Why is this adult foreigner approaching a group of girls? And we have to believe, for this story to make any sense, that in Scotland, there are roving gangs of 13-year-old little white girls with battle axes and knives picking on immigrants. Really? You believe that? Or do you think that there was a predatory migrant who didn't belong there that was menacing them in the park? And in order to defend themselves, maybe they went home and collected weapons. What sounds more likely to you? What sounds right to you? That the United Kingdom is currently under siege by roving gangs of little girls with bladed weapons? Or that you have foreigners inside the United Kingdom that are preying on the vulnerable, which includes women, children, little girls, and they defended themselves? Well, we have gone insane as a society. We hate our own race. We're afraid of our own race. We're afraid of being who we are. We hate ourselves. So we believe the former. The police arrest the girls. They don't arrest the migrant that's filming them and approaching them and menacing them. They arrest the girls that are defending themselves. Same exact story played out in Minnesota. Today we received an update about Shiloh Hendricks, who you might recall she was in Minnesota. She was at the park with her child by herself, and a couple of Somali guys who don't even have children came up and started harassing her. Now, they claim that she called them the N-word. They pull out their phone, start recording, and a verbal altercation ensues. Shiloh goes away. It becomes a big story. Shiloh Hendricks raises all this money. Today, it's been announced that Shiloh Hendricks was charged with multiple counts of disorderly conduct. Really? This is the story. It says the Rochester City Attorney's Office moves to leverage 3 counts of disorderly conduct against Shiloh Hendricks, a woman who used racial slurs against a Somali child with a disability, and a since viral video in April. Oh, the horror. A slur. The charges would amount to a maximum of 90 days in jail or a $1,000 fine. The legal complaint is still subject to review and approval by a district court judge, but it concludes that, quote, Shiloh wrongfully and unlawfully engaged in offensive, obscene, abusive, boisterous, or noisy conduct, or an offensive, obscene, or abusive language that would reasonably tend to arouse alarm, anger, or resentment in others. Oh, she aroused resentment in others. Throw her in jail. The city spokesperson said, quote, this was a situation that deeply affected many people, especially our communities of color, and caused real turmoil. We acknowledge the lasting impacts this incident has had, not only on those directly involved and across our community, but also in broader conversations happening at the state and national level. So she's being charged because of the national pain of a racial slur that was said on a playground. These moments remind us of the complexity and far-reaching impacts of situations like this. The city remains committed to staying engaged and proceeding with the transparency and care that support accountability and progress in Rochester. That really feels like progress. This is a story that is playing out all across the country, all across the white Western world every single day. And the story is this: our countries have been invaded by outsiders, by foreigners, by aliens. People don't like that language. It's what they are. They are from other lands. They speak other languages. They worship strange gods. They look different, act different, have different customs, different foods. They are foreigners. They are outsiders. They are aliens. They would be unrecognizable to the people that founded this country, that fought for its independence, that fought for its union, that fought for its freedom, its expansion. They'd be unrecognizable. They are foreigners. They are outsiders. And they are unwanted. Who decided that Minnesota, which was previously one of the best states in the country, highest reported rates of happiness, best healthcare, best education, whose idea was it to dump Somalians into Minnesota? Somalia isn't even a country. Trump has bombed Somalia 70 times this year. It's 3 different states. It's Puntland, it's Somaliland, it's Somalia. They're fighting off ISIS and Al-Shabaab, and there's a civil war. Whose idea was it to bring these clannish, low IQ, violent gangsters and thugs worshiping Islam into utopia, into the white utopia known as Minnesota? Whose idea was this? We don't want these people here. Whose decision was it? Who looked at Minnesota, its healthcare system, its public services, its education system, its infrastructure, and said, we need a major Somalian enclave right here in our playgrounds and neighborhoods? It's just like the Afghans and the Pakistanis and the Muslims in the United Kingdom in Europe. It's just like the Venezuelans and the Salvadorians in New York or in Texas or California. It's just like the Indians and the Chinese in Seattle and Portland. You look at our beautiful country, national parks, skyscrapers, natural and man-made wonders. You look at the country that we had. You look at the videos of Detroit, of Chicago, of New York, and LA. Whose idea was it to invite the whole world here? And they come here, and these people have all kinds of problems. They're rude. They're inconsiderate. They don't assimilate. They don't like us. They don't respect us. They don't see themselves as Americans. They help each other out at our expense. They have disdain for us. They feel entitled to this country, the sense of arrogance of some of the foreigners. And those are the best ones. The worst ones are violent. They're rapists. The worst ones are bringing the drug cartels. The worst ones are shaking people down, taking over apartment complexes. The worst ones are smashing your windows and stealing your bags. The worst ones are mugging you at gunpoint. This is the situation we find ourselves in. It's also the native black population too. They'd fit right in with the outsiders. Go figure. Imagine that. And what is happening is that the white people are being victimized, and it seems like there's nothing we can do about it. To do anything about these brown and black problems would be racist. And that's what they are, brown and black problems. Carjackings, that's a brown and black problem. You don't get carjacked by a white guy. You don't get carjacked by a woman. You get carjacked by a brown or a black man. Okay? These are brown and black problems. We can't do anything about them because they're racist. So the white people are being pushed in front of subway trains. The white people are being stabbed in the neck at a track field. The white people are being mugged and beaten up at gunpoint. They're being executed. The white women are being made uncomfortable and preyed upon. And the police, the government will do nothing about it. They won't remove the people. They won't arrest the people. They won't lock them in jail. They will not punish them. And instead, what is happening increasingly is when white people stand up for themselves verbally, they get arrested. That's what Shiloh Hendricks did. She stood up for herself verbally. First Amendment protected speech. We do still live in America, don't we? You may not like what she said, but she got in an altercation. She used some choice words. She's now going to jail. Not the Somalians giving her a hard time, a young lady with her child at the park. In Scotland, the young 14-year-old girl is getting arrested, not the migrants making her uncomfortable. And there's a word for this. It's called anarcho-tyranny. This is a term coined by Sam Francis. We've used it on the show before. Increasingly, we live in a state of both anarchy and tyranny. And if you live in a major city, you know what this feels like. Anarcho-tyranny means if you go out and leave your belongings in your car will be broken into and your belongings will be stolen. If you drive through certain neighborhoods at night, you will be carjacked. Your car will be stolen out of your driveway. You will be followed home and held up at your home. You will be burglarized. It is like a state of anarchy. Simultaneously, if you drive 11 miles per hour over the speed limit, you're going to get a speeding ticket. You're going to get hit with a major tax bill. You have to pay off your student loans. You have to pay high fees, high costs. You have to work for your money. Other people get welfare, food stamps, subsidized housing, subsidized phones, everything. You got to work for a living, and everything's getting more expensive all the time. Insurance is going up. Healthcare is going up. Taxes are going up. Housing costs are going up. Entertainment subscriptions are going up. The taxes on those things are going up. And you got to find a way to make it all work while wages are stagnant. Meanwhile, illegal immigrants go to the emergency room. They get their health care for free. They don't have to worry about insurance. They get subsidized housing. They don't have to worry about interest rates, insurance costs. They get SNAP. They get food assistance. They don't got to worry about the cost of groceries. It's on us. And we are the only ones expected to follow the law. If a criminal comes to your house and tries to steal your car for the third time, and in a fit of rage, you chase after him, however crazy it is, you go to jail for 60 years. The kids get let off the hook.
All right, if I may, real quick, won't take too long. Was just taking a couple notes, but he's frustrated. He's frustrated. White men in America in particular, I won't speak about other countries. White men are frustrated. They've allowed themselves to be blamed for everything. And this is mostly feeding into every type of movement, whether you're feeding into the feminist movement, feeding into this Me Too, feeding into the trans movement, Black Lives Matter. And there's a large population of young white men growing up now who now are pissed off. They're blamed for everything, and then they don't receive any benefits. They're starting to feel like the victims. And it's all reactionary, right? It's all reactionary. So it's almost as if, like I said before, with these victim groups, I'm almost starting to call them like the forever victim groups, the ones that we continue to see that have been reactionary in other ways, whether it's BLM, the trans movement, the feminist movement, Me Too, all these different things. Now white people are feeling like the victims, and they're fed up with being blamed for everything, especially the white men. And I'm almost starting to think, like, when I think about DEI, you know how they always say that white women are actually the biggest beneficiaries of DEI? I'm almost starting to think that that's intentional, to kind of like get them to buy into a lot of the other things. And meanwhile, the white men are still suffering. This is what they're feeling. This is what they're feeling. Y'all tell me if y'all think it's different. I don't know. Y'all tell me. This is something that I realized maybe like a year ago, that when we talk about white supremacy, and then I looked up the numbers as far as who's outpacing who in America when it comes to household income, white Americans were like 7 or 8 on that list out of 15. It was most of the Asian cultures. Most of the Asian cultures, and more specifically, the Indian cultures, that were doing so well. So here we always talk about white supremacy, blame white people for any and everything. And in all actuality, all it does is create a racial divide between Black and white Americans. I know Tariq Nasheed always likes to say foundational Black Americans, but think about it from a standpoint of foundational Americans overall, Black and white, are losing when it comes to America, based on all of these liberal democratic policies that have gone into helping the migrants, helping all of these other areas. And to be totally honest, it's the social programs with the Black people. The difference is, when it comes to the Black people, these social programs do not benefit us. Just like Lyndon B. Johnson said when he released his Great Society and those social programs, that allegedly he said that he'd have Negroes, and he used a different word, voting Democrat for the next 100 years just based on these social programs, because he knew that that would keep Black people on the hook, right? Teach somebody to fish, they can be independent, move on their own. But give them just scraps, they'll keep coming to you. So the social programs have harmed Black people, but when it comes to these other cultures, they're coming in and they're actually using it to their advantage, and they're outpacing everybody in America. So meanwhile, white men are still getting blamed for everything. They're feeling like victims. They're not winning when it comes to making the most amount of money in this country. We like to scream white supremacy, but meanwhile, they're not actually receiving any of the benefits from America. And then you have a guy like Trump, who's supposed to be pushing these America First agendas, and then he gets in office, and it seems as if now he's not pushing the America First agenda. So what are these young men, specifically white men, what are they thinking in their minds? They're pissed off. They're frustrated. They're feeling like nobody represents them. People sit around and wonder why Nick Fuentes has the following that he has. There's a reason. It's all reactionary. People are reacting. White men are reacting to the fact that they don't feel that this country is serving them. And this country, let's just be real, it's a European white American country. They're pissed off that it's not serving them, that it's doing for everybody else but them. And Nick Fuentes seems to be one of the only people who's willing to speak out against it, or to speak up for them. And what a lot of other cultures are realizing, or I should say perhaps starting to wake up and see, is that the same thing that Nick Fuentes is preaching is the same thing that Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, what Dr. Umar talks about now, what a lot of other nationalist leaders have been discussing for years. And it's pretty much an unapologetic expression of, no, we need to prioritize us, whatever us is considered for you. We need to prioritize us. We need to be unapologetic about putting our wants, our needs, and prioritizing us first rather than prioritizing everybody else, because we've spent so much time prioritizing everybody else, and all it's done is land us in last place. We're blamed for everything, but now we're not doing as well. Let's continue.
You're on the subway, someone brandishes a knife, starts acting erratically. You leap into action, put him in a chokehold, he dies. You get your life destroyed. You get set up on a murder charge. Not these people that are pushing people in front of the subway every day, every week, all the time. Anarchy for them, tyranny for us. Anarchy for the criminals, anarchy for the brown and black people, anarchy for the migrants and the invaders, tyranny for the white people, the law-abiding people, the taxpayers, the rule followers. And you really need one or the other. If it were anarchy, you would have chaos. But at least vigilantism would fill the gap that law enforcement left. If you had a total state of anarchy, you could say, it's pretty chaotic out here, but at least we have a higher degree of freedom. We can defend ourselves with lethal force. We can look after our own interests. We can gang up as a community, as a militia. We can find a way to make anarchy work. It's chaotic, but it's free. And tyranny. Things are a lot less free, and you're worried about surveillance, and probably you might get picked up by the government. But at least the streets are safe. At least, like in China, you don't live in fear of walking the streets at night, because although the government's oppressive, there's a benefit there too. You don't have to worry about those things. There's no crime. We get the worst of both worlds. We're not safe. It's not peaceful. Crime is out of control. The crimes don't even get solved. So it's complete chaos, but we are disallowed from doing anything about it. Vigilantes, Good Samaritans are punished. Militias are outlawed. White identity politics might as well be a crime. Even stick up for white people, try to look out for them. It's a DOJ civil rights case. And if you try to defend your life or anything like that, you're the one that's going to jail. You still got to pay your taxes at the end of the year. You still got to go to work on time. You still got to get on the highway, which has become a death trap. You got to get in your car and commute to work, where black people are driving on the shoulder. Indians are getting CDL licenses that they bought or they scammed the government out of. And they're creating mile-high pileups and killing multiple people. We can't keep living like this. Something has got to change. Pick a lane here. You don't want to enforce the laws? Fine. Let me drive 70 miles an hour. Let me not pay my taxes. You don't want to enforce the laws on the black people? Stop fucking pulling me over. Don't fucking arrest me when I kill somebody outside my house. Don't arrest me, and that's not referencing me in particular for legal reasons. Don't arrest me if someone comes and steals my car and their brain is painted on the cement. Or pick the other. Start enforcing the laws, but enforce them against everybody, not just me. But it is, at the end of the day, this is a problem of diversity. Diversity brought these problems here. We have this dissonance because we have an open society. We have self-government. Yeah, that worked when it was all white people. Don't tell me about education. That worked for white people. Self-government, open society, that worked when it was just white people. Now that we got to share this space with Africans and Indians and Chinese and Salvadorians and Venezuelans, doesn't work anymore. Okay? They can't handle guns. They can't handle fucking spears. We're giving them Glocks. They can't handle it. Okay? Welfare state, direct democracy, all this kind of stuff, it's not working with diversity. We are now a multiracial empire. It's got to be governed like an empire now. It's either got to be governed like a confederation or an empire. But this is no longer a republic. Fuck all that. People talk about a republic if you can keep it. How do I translate republic into Cantonese? How do I translate republic into Igbo? How do I translate republic into Urdu? Can somebody get a translator here, please? A republic, if you can keep it. That's fucking over. We had a republic when people said the Pledge of Allegiance, and I know that's a modern innovation, but we had a republic when people saluted the flag, and there was a sense of familiarity and togetherness. a sense of commonality and coherence. There doesn't exist that anymore. People are fighting. People are bringing this fucked up stuff to our doors. And either the government's got to do something about it or you got to let the people do something about it. But it can't go on like this.
If the police and the government don't do something, everything I'm hearing from Nick Fuentes is people are going to start to go back to what they used to do when they were scared, right? When they were fearful, when they were taking matters into their own hands. When my parents or their parents were growing up, there was a fear going into certain white neighborhoods where you had to be more on your toes, right? Making sure that you don't act up because there were repercussions for your actions. That's not there anymore. Whether it's Black or any other culture, whatever, if people are not going to behave and have other people living in fear, then there's going to at a certain point be a reaction to it. It just is what it is. People are going to look out for their survival. And when they get in survival mode, they're going to start to react in ways that are more extreme than they would typically react. It just is what it is.
I'm sick and tired of our options being you can either be murdered by a Black person or you go to jail for 1,000 years for defending your life in the wrong way. Those seem to be the two options. There's a story last week, guy in Denver, Colorado, they try to steal his car 3 times. On the 3rd time, the guy snaps. He gets in his car, he chases them, he kills one of them. They put him in jail for 54 years. Now you say that's a crazy reaction. You don't get in your car and chase somebody shooting out of the car. That's insane. But we've been pushed to this point. It didn't start that way. It didn't start that way the first time that guy had his car almost get stolen. It didn't happen the second time that guy almost got his car stolen. It happened the 3rd time. And you want to know why it happened? Because the first time, I'm sure this guy lost his shit. I'm sure he was terrified. His wife was terrified. He's paying a lot of money for this house. He works a job. You work too hard to have to worry about your piece of shit Elantra being stolen and your life being in jeopardy. So what do? You call the cops. And you know what they do? They show up and they say, we can do nothing for you. Well, file a report online, they say. They do fucking nothing. Nothing. And it never gets better. And it's traumatic. I'm sure this guy's kept awake at night. This guy maybe starts carrying a gun, maybe buys a gun. He's worried. We're not used to living like this. It happens a second time. What do you think he does a second time? Loses his shit again, out of his mind, calls the cops. This is the second time. What is going on? 3rd time? It's go time. Get in the car, put the seatbelt on. Motherfucker, it's go time. Somebody dies. 54 years in prison. It's his fault? What's the responsibility of the police to enforce the laws? What's the responsibility of these fucking people not to steal cars? How many times do you almost get your car stolen? Do you get a gun pointed in your face? How many times does your home get invaded before you say, you know what? I'm going to be the solution now. We always start in the middle of the story. Always. We never start in the beginning. It didn't start out this way. This is where we got. After we've seen countless videos of bystanders pushed in front of trains, stabbed in the neck, for nothing. Teen takeovers, vandalism and destruction, commerce drying up, businesses leaving the city, people being followed home, confronted in their driveway, their elderly parents, their children, students, college kids. Didn't start out this way. We were making movies like Crash. Canceled Michael Richards for saying too many times. Now, they wanted us to abolish the police, and look what happened. After they looted the phone store, the liquor store, they told us abolish the police, and look what that accomplished. Now we live in fear. Now the cops do nothing. Now the criminals and the opportunists have free reign. And if we try to stop them, we go to jail. They don't go to jail. We go to jail. There should be a revolution at that point. And these cock-sucking FBI agents, they're going to create Telegram group chats to entrap 18-year-olds that post a fucking 4chan meme. Hey, pigs, why don't you arrest the fucking criminals? We've all seen that. Netflix documentaries, undercover operations, sting operations. They're more worried about 8chan and 4chan and fucking active clubs. They're more worried about kids getting radicalized on YouTube, these fucking pigs, these public servants with a badge and a gun, than they are about these fucking black people stealing cars, shooting people and stabbing people. If you don't want a revolution, do your fucking job. You don't want a revolution? Start arresting the people that don't pay the taxes, don't follow the laws. It's enough to make anybody go crazy. It's enough to make anybody lose their minds. I'm sure that guy in Denver, Colorado, he was probably a normal guy, probably thought I was some racist. Then a couple of thugs tried to steal his car 3 times. Different story. Different story. I'm sure that black guy that was drunk with his girlfriend in downtown Chicago after the concert, I'm sure he thought I was detestable until he was bleeding out on the sidewalk for no reason because some black bum kept giving him a dirty look and he decided to say something. And now you're dead and in hell. So what are you going to do now? Something's got to change. Something's got to change. And look at what happens. We elect Donald Trump, and what does he do? Crack down on anti-Semitism. Really? That's the problem in the country. Too much anti-Semitism. Tell that to all the rich, wealthy fucking Jews. That's the problem in the country. Too much anti-Semitism. What happens? Spill over into the country clubs? Spill over into the private clubs and country clubs? Spill over into the private jets and Academy Awards, Federal Reserve Governor's Board meeting, and what the fuck? It's enough. And what they really fear is the people power. When are the white people going to form up and have a general strike? That's what they really fear. This country's going to hell. Supply chains are breaking down. Interest rates are going too high. Stagflation's imminent. We're going to have to pick one or the other. Oh, man, it'd be a real fucking shame, wouldn't it be, if all those white people stopped showing up to work? Wouldn't it be a shame if all this pig-sucking government was left with was Brandon Johnson's and Vivek Ramaswamy's? You know, because pill salesmen, pharmaceutical grifters, and hedge fund money changers, and black grievance artists, you know, they don't make the trains run on time. They don't deliver the food. They don't deliver the oil. That's white people that do that. That's law-abiding, tax-paying white people that do all that. It'd be a real shame if all the white people stopped showing up to work one day. What would happen to the critical infrastructure? What would happen to the supply chains? What would happen to the trade? What would happen to the cities? Oh, what would happen? It would be total anarchy? Oh, it's not much different than how it is right now. Well, just keep pushing. Just keep pushing people. Just keep pushing people. And watch how that value assessment starts to change. Watch how that risk-reward calculator starts to change. Something's got to change, man. Something has to be done. That's not a call for violence. The government needs to do its job. We can't keep voting for this. We need to form up politically. We need to get together politically. Call it a union. Call it the National Association for the Advancement of White People. Call it the Association of Patriots. Whatever you want to do. Something has got to change. We have to use the power of the people. We can't take it. It can't go on like this any longer. We all know something is wrong here. And we are being gaslit by people that hate us. Anyway, so that's that. But that's that. Look, something's got to change, man. And by the way, you know, look, I know it doesn't need to be said, but the brown people and the black people that agree with us, they need to be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. I am perfectly willing to isolate the lawbreakers, the indolent. If a black person wants to stand next to me as a taxpayer and a patriot and recognizes a problem, let him. Something has got to be done about the invasion, about the illegal foreign labor. Something's got to be done about these opportunistic predators and thugs. Something has got to be done about this. There needs to be a coalition of the willing. You can deal with the demographic problem after that. We need is a coalition of the willing. Deport the illegals, close the border, throw these fucking thugs in jail, prosecute these corrupt politicians that have made this happen. You can deal with the demographic stuff later. That's a difficult question. We need now is a coalition of the willing to set these things right. Anyway, and you know what? And I'll tell you something else. People like to say, oh, you know, you love Muslims and blacks. Look, I love everybody. I'll take it a step further, though. You know, Jews brought all these Muslims here. Muslims are 1% of the population. They don't run this country. They're not even the biggest immigrant group. The biggest immigrant group is Indians, and the Trump administration can't get enough of them. The biggest immigrant groups are Chinese and Indians, and the Trump administration can't roll out the red carpet more. Muslims are a fraction of the population. The Jews brought them in. Let's make it hurt. Let's take the Muslims. The Muslims have a big population in Michigan. Oh man, it sure would be a fucking shame. These Jews that so love our melting pot, our race blind, diverse society, what a shame it would be if the Muslims allied with the white people in a state like Michigan as single issue voters against Israel. Wouldn't that be the worst thing in the world to take this diversity that the Jews visited upon us for the melting pot and we took it and shoved it up their fucking ass? Oh, they realized that diversity was the problem because they won't support Israel. How about we make the diversity work for us for a change? Let's make it work for us. Let's make it, maybe better yet, let's make it work against the corrupt people ruining this country. You know, Ben Shapiro said, I don't give a damn about the browning of America. Oh, too bad. Michigan got browned. Now they're going to vote for someone and the only issue is Israel. Wouldn't that suck? Let's use our heads. Let's be creative. Let's be smart. Let's use politics like they use politics. And let's not let them divide us. Anyway, that's that. We're going to move on. We're going to take a look at the super chats. We'll see what you guys have to say. I'm losing it, man. It's getting crazy out there. I don't know how many more of these things you can see. Does it not piss you off to see this stuff? Am I the only one paying attention? It's really sad about Chicago. It's really sad because Chicago is such a gorgeous city, such a beautiful, great city. It is one of the best cities in America. And there's only one reason it doesn't work, okay? Teachers Union, Brandon Johnson, these black people in the South and West Side that are causing all these problems. I mean, who is it that's lighting up the blue line all the time? Who is it that's leading these car chases all over the place? Who is it that's doing carjacking? Who is it that's doing the teen takeovers? Seriously? And what's amazing is Chicago is actually, I believe, experiencing a resurgence in tourism driven by, and maybe this is like my own theory, but I think through TikTok. Because people are on TikTok and they see what a beautiful city it is. They actually did a nice job cleaning up the river and making a nice river walk or the riverfront river walk. They have Lollapalooza. We've got the greatest restaurants. We have cool architecture, great schools. This is like a great city. And people are starting to find out how great it is. And people are coming here. There's that song about Chicago. Great for everybody. For tourists, international and domestic, for college kids, for students, for businesses. This could be such a great city. We have abundant resources. We have water, which is so important. We have a big population. We have industry. We have real estate. This is a great city. And it is literally being killed because we just won't enforce the most basic laws. Because nobody wants to have their business headquartered in a city where when you drive there, you're going to get in a near-death experience because these people driving like animals. You're going to get carjacked. You can't go there at night. There's a teen takeover. It's horrible. The value that's lost, monetary, but also the intangible value, it's incalculable. the damage they've done. This used to be a beautiful city. It used to be truly magnificent. You used to go to Marshall Fields. It used to be an outing, an experience. You used to go to the Festival of Lights. It used to be the highlight of the holiday season. You used to go downtown to the best restaurants in the summer. You look at the beautiful planters, the river. Now you go to the Festival of Lights, there's shooting, people screaming and running. You go to the beaches in the summer, people are smoking pot, people are shooting each other, fighting, stabbing. Who the fuck wants to live like this? I said it the other night, people work too hard. People work so hard in their jobs. Everybody knows times are tough now. People want to enjoy the amenities. They want to enjoy the weather. And what do we have to deal with? Bullshit. Bullshit from animals. Bullshit from thugs, from cretins. Where are these people's parents? Who are these people? Who are these fucking scum that are ruining our lives? And why won't the cops arrest them? They arrest us? It's insane. I'm going to get a ticket for, a right on red. I'm going to get a ticket for you're 15 over. These people, they're driving stolen cars through storefront windows, stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of merchandise and then fleeing the cops. They don't even chase them. Really? Anyway, we got to move on. We got to look at the super chats. You can't take it anymore.